So people are making a big deal about Rhule versus ranked.
He's not good, Connor.
No, he's 2-20.
Should probably fire him.
Well, he's only 0-4 at Nebraska. That's actually pretty bad. I can't lie.
It's not great. You're going to want to do better than that.
Would you like to guess, Josh?
Oh.
How many of those 22 games, 20 of which Matt Rhule has lost against ranked teams, how many of those 22 games has the Matt Rhule coach team been a favorite?
I will guess.
We know one, right? We know one.
Right.
Illinois this year.
Right.
Lost. Losers.
Right. I will guess 6.
Lower.
4.
Lower.
2.
Correct.
Well, we know one of them.
We know one of them.
Okay.
And the other one also happened while I was at Nebraska. It was the Iowa game last year.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I just felt like that's content. So Nebraska's looking to end this streak, and everybody's losing their mind because this guy sucks against ranked opponents. He can't beat ranked teams. There's, for whatever reason, some hex on him.
What was his?
We all agree that they have good football. They have good football teams, but for whatever reason, they just can't beat ranked teams.
What was his record with the Carolina Panthers against ranked teams?
0-0.
Okay.
Never played a ranked team.
Okay.
Played a garbage schedule.
Never had an opportunity.
Played a garbage schedule.
Damn.
They played. So Rhule has lost 20 times as just in his college coaching career against ranked teams. Oh, I've received a text from Sipple, by the way.
Oh no.
Hap, no go. ... travel. I figured.
Well, at least we know.
Thanks, Dad. Now we won't even call. As sad as that becomes.
Yeah.
I said, I figured, thanks, Dad. He probably, because this message is not even being delivered right now, he probably went directly into airplane mode after he sent that.
Definitely.
So he'll get this when he lands wherever he's going.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
I love the way that tickles him just right.
Okay. All right. All right. So 22 games against ranked opponents, 20 of which Matt Rhule teams have lost. This will be game number 23 this weekend against Indiana. I think there are 2 or 3 in here where the Rhule coach team was also a ranked team. Most of them took place at Baylor. But listen to some of these numbers in which they were like, you could almost throw some of these out the window because number one, in 2013, it was his first year as a head coach and he was at Temple. They won 2 games that year, right? Who the hell expects him to beat a ranked team?
Right.
Nobody.
Not me.
They were 27.5-point underdogs to Notre Dame, 33-point dogs to Louisville, and 17.5-point dogs to UCF.
Those are big dogs.
In 2017, it was his first year at Baylor. I think they went 1-11, maybe 2-10. They were 28-point dogs to Oklahoma, 26-point dogs to Oklahoma State, 10-point dogs to West Virginia, and 24.5-point dogs to TCU. That's 7 games right there.
Big dog.
Big dog. That's 7 games right there where he's in his first year at Temple and Baylor and he's taking over complete disasters. And I just forgive me.
Just getting wrecked.
I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but that seems pretty forgivable.
It is.
That seems pretty forgivable.
Different than what is ahead of him tomorrow.
Correct. Now, with that being said, they're still touchdown underdogs tomorrow. It is different than, even in his first year at Nebraska, they lost to Colorado. They were 2.5-point underdogs, but that game was winnable, right? You count that against it. I just wanted to add the context here. The Michigan game. They got blasted. They never had a chance. That team won the national championship. They weren't winning, right? It's his first year at Nebraska. I'm just more likely to throw that out the window. Where it does get concerning is later on in the tenure, right? So we're talking about year 3 at Baylor, 2019. They went to the conference championship game. They're 10.5-point underdogs to Oklahoma. They lose. They're 9-point dogs to Oklahoma in the conference championship game. They lose. I think they covered in both of those games. And then they lost to Georgia as an underdog in the bowl game. Those are all against ranked teams. In 2014, his second year at Temple, they beat a ranked team. And in 2016, his fourth and final year at Temple, they played a ranked Navy team in the conference championship game and won. Those were
he beat the troops.
He beat the troops, and he has very little respect for them. But some of these are just gigantic 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown underdog spreads in his first and second year at places, and he would admit to you, like, we weren't ready to do that. We weren't ready to go into those environments and win those games. And so I feel like when you throw out the stat like, hey, I'm a little concerned about this. He's 2-20 against ranked opponents in his career. It just lacks context. Mm-hmm. It lacks the proper context. Is the record still not as good as you want it to be? Are there some concerning games on here? Sure.
Right.
But also, like, when you get it down to the real stuff that matters, the real games that matter, we're talking about conference championship games. We're talking about games against, in the second year or third year at Baylor, or in the fourth year at Temple, like where they're competing and they're in these games and stuff like that. They either won them or they were covering in those games and lost as a ranked team to a ranked team. I don't know how much shame there is in those type of ideas. Like, for example, the Oklahoma games that I mentioned in 2019, Oklahoma was number 10 in the country. Baylor was number 12 in the country the first time that they played, and they lost by 3. What's the shame in that? It's not that
losing.
It's not they can't beat a ranked team. It's just they were in a really good game and they lost it. They were also 10.5-point underdogs in that game. They lost by a touchdown to Oklahoma in the conference championship game. Oklahoma was the number 6 team in the country. They lost to Georgia in the bowl game. They lost by 12, and Georgia was the number 5 team in the country at that point. So, like, you have to kind of pick it apart game by game. Jeremy asked on the Twitter, the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Hi, Jeremy.
How many of those games did he cover? I could go through because I have the whole Matt Rhule coaching game log right here. So, Josh, if you want to count along with me here, we could play that game. I wish I had the numbers more readily available for you. So we're talking about ATS against ranked.
Okay.
For Rhule. All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready to count.
Covered against Notre Dame in his first one.
Boom. 1-0.
Covered against Louisville in his second one.
Boom. 2-0.
Covered
coach.
Covered against UCF in his third one. Man. Won and covered against UCF against ECU in his fourth one. Covered against Notre Dame in his fifth.
This guy covers against Notre Dame.
This guy covers against Notre Dame. Did not cover against Houston in a conference championship game. Lost by 11. Were 4.5-point dogs. Did not cover.
Sad.
In 2015. 2016 conference championship game. Won and covered against Navy.
Disrespectful.
2017 Baylor. Wow. Here's a good one. So they're 28-point underdogs. They're 4-touchdown underdogs in Matt Rhule's fourth game at taking over disaster Baylor. Playing number 3 Oklahoma, lost by a touchdown, covered. Oklahoma State's number 14 team got absolutely crushed, did not cover. So that's his second not cover, Josh.
Yeah.
West Virginia did cover that year. TCU did cover that year. This guy's got a track record, huh? 2018, Oklahoma did not cover. Texas did. West Virginia did not. Iowa State did. Sorry, there's only 2 more years of this left, I promise.
Okay.
2019, Oklahoma game did cover, yes. Oklahoma game part due did cover, yes. Georgia game, bowl game did not cover. 2023 at Nebraska did not cover against Colorado, did not cover against Michigan, and did not cover against Iowa. So far this year, played one ranked team. It was Illinois. Did not cover. So what? Four of his
nine
9 non-covers have been at Nebraska
He's never covered at Nebraska
against a ranked team.
13-9.
Yeah. So that tells a little bit.
ATS.
That tells a little bit of a different story than he's 2-20 against ranked teams. You know, like that's not more important than winning or losing, but it adds more context because in a lot of these games, it's the first or second year at these crap jobs, and he's 4 touchdown underdogs, and he's he's getting them to play hard, right? So I don't know. I felt like that was notable. The streak of Nebraska playing ranked teams and losing to them goes back to the Oregon game. Still goes back to the Oregon game in 2016. They have not won since then. Winning against a top 25 team on the road, I believe that goes back to 2011, Josh.
That Nebraska
Has not
failed?
beaten a ranked team on the road since 2011.
Wow.
So I have my ranked versus ranked here when I did this for the Illinois game. My ranked versus ranked document as it loads up. So, oh gosh, I don't have the locations of this game. Yeah, it would probably be the Penn State game in 2011. Almost 13 years ago that they beaten a ranked team on the road. So that streak has an opportunity to come to an end. The Rhule versus ranked thing narrative has a potential to be shooken. And of course, your guys' favorite thing, the bowl drought.
Oh, yeah.
People forget about the bowl drought.
6.
Where are we meeting? 72nd and Dodge?
114th and Dodge under the overpass.
114th and Dodge under the overpass. Wherever you guys want to go. That McDonald's right there? Is that a good spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Dairy Queen. Right there in the corner. That's a lot of streaks, Josh, that could be ending tomorrow against Indiana.
Stay tuned for predictions.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
I have more streaks. I think Nebraska will end.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to throw that out there right now, or you're going to hold it?
I'm going to hold it.
What's up with the media and holding stuff, Josh?
What would you like me to?
Yeah, bust it out. Bust it out.
Gosh, I don't know.
You can repeat it later.
Seems like a real tight game. Be a shame if it went to overtime.
Oh no!
Nebraska kicked a field goal to win the game.
Okay, now this would be the ultimate narrative breaker.
I know, Connor.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
That's not the lights messing.
Are you
up,
putting on the screen? Yeah. Are you putting something on the screen?
Yeah.
What does it say? It
says Nebraska 38, Indiana 35 in overtime.
Nebraska 38, Indiana 35 in overtime as they make a field goal in overtime.
Yeah.
Do they get a first down?
That's a good question. Yes,
because we are coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Nebraska last getting a first down in overtime.
Why not?
Wow. Oh, boy. People would be on the wagon if they found a way to do all those things.
All in just one fail swoop.
That's the kind of day that Nebraska fans need, for sure.
I agree, Connor.
Platcat has a meeting spot for us. Grand China Buffet, 114th and Dodge.
It's right there.
If Nebraska gets to a bowl game. A couple comments from you guys before we get to a history lesson here.
Hibachi for everyone.
That's a big old China buffet.
It is.
That is a big old China buffet.
There are mall food courts smaller than that. Grand China buffet.
That's one of the China buffets too. I think it's the only China buffet that I've ever been to that has natural light.
Oh yeah,
it's got natural light coming in.
Yeah.
Usually those places are dark
on purpose.
Purposefully. Yeah. You're like, how long have I been in here? 6 hours?
There's no clocks on the wall.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
I get there's context, but the record is awful. The record is indeed awful.
Yeah,
there's no arguing that.
I think we need to be a little clearer on that because it does sound like we were like, well, Matt Rhule's pretty good against ranked teams, guys. The record isn't, he's actually worse at Nebraska than other places.
Yeah, but it was year one,
It
right?
was year one.
It was year one.
Except for against Illinois. But that was an overtime game.
That was an overtime game. So you're subject to all the bad things that happened to you there.
Yeah,
No,
that
Jeff,
was a different hex.
You're right. You're right, Jeff. It's a bad record. That's for sure. But like I just feel like it's a little overkill to go down the road of this guy can't beat ranked teams.
I don't know that he's ever had the horses. Oh God, what? I thought there was a bug on
Are you
me.
spilling something on you?
Nope.
There has been one bug that has just been kind of crawling around in here, hanging out
It
with
was
us.
my microphone cord my headphone cord that touched me. I'm sorry.
Here is Cody.
Hi, Cody.
Poll question. Do you remember that Michigan won the national title last year? Do we do that? Because I remember that.
I remember that.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's just a Cody poll question inside of his own.
Only because of the
brain.
cheating. Do I remember that? Not.
I remember. Why not Hoiberg texts in?
Hi, why not Hoiberg?
Josh, in response to Josh's bold prediction.
That's right. I went on a limb.
Why not Hoiberg says, I see Josh has started One Beer Friday a little early.
Whoa.
Yeah, Josh, you on the sauce?
Whoa.
Predicting points in overtime and wins?
I put on for my city and state.
And he wants to meet at Grand China Buffet at 114th and Dodge.
That's right. I want to see all of you there, eating the sushi, eating the hibachi, digging into those crab legs.
Mad Piper says it wasn't Matt Rhule who turned the ball over all those times last season.
Yeah.
Although he was certainly coaching at that time. By the way, we're looking forward to Jeff Sims, the return of Jeff Sims, return of the Sims.
I've got that plugged into my viewing schedule this weekend.
That's exciting.